It's interesting. Noel Castler, who worked with Trump on Apprentice, just to get your take, because, we've got Ukraine as a separate subject, but he said the appeasement and ass-kissing we've seen from world leaders toward Trump has not helped the global situation. History will not be kind to this moment. I get that they're mostly white men. It's kind of a club, but it's still gross and dangerous, and all of them should know better. And then he just updated. These leaders that danced around Trump's derangement and deformity should watch this G7 presser with a clear-eyed sobriety and be honest with themselves about what a dangerous place the world is in with Trump leading the USA. I mean, I keep saying I'm not a doctor. You are. He is clearly unwell in so many different ways. I don't know if you watched any of this.
I did.
G7.
I saw clips.
Can I just say, on Threads, there's satisfaction knowing the self-proclaimed great deal maker is going to die with this Iran deal disaster is the one deal he's going to be remembered for forever. And the hilarious part, it's a deal he didn't even have to make. He forced himself into this situation by ripping up Obama's deal. This is just, I've never seen something described as a disaster by pretty much every single side, except Iran, right?
Oh no, they're cheering. They're,
Yeah.
they're celebrating in the streets. Yeah, no, this is profoundly unfortunate, and what this does for Iran, for the dissidents in Iran who really do need regime change.
Yes.
He's strengthened those guys. He's done nothing to eliminate their nuclear program, and he's giving them a hell of a lot of money to rebuild. Meanwhile, he's starving Ukraine. I'm beside myself. Instead, the big thing is that he fired all of his people with brains in the first administration, and this time he assembled a group of morons to advise him. It's the dumbest presidential cabinet in the history of the United States of America, and we're stuck with it. Yeah.
I mean, and to your point, that was one of the many things he promised about, liberating the Iranian people. I mean, this is literally a disaster for nothing he said. We've gotten nothing out of this except
No, it's worse
strengthening
than nothing.
Iran.
It's worse than nothing. Yeah, it's worse than nothing.
And they reiterated again that they're going to control the strait and charge. And there's Trump threatening to bomb them again, which already is a violation of the agreement because the agreement says there will be no more threats, even of bombing, right?
And can you imagine if you were one of the millions of Iranian dissidents who would like to get out of that totalitarian, horrendous government, which is now more extreme than it was before he attacked them? How depressing is that? How much of a reversal and of an elimination of hope for the future for these people? At the end of the day, people get hurt by stupidity, and that's what we're seeing in Iran.
Well, I have to say, we keep talking about it's kind of expert level trolling that Macron got him to sign this surrender at Versailles, but because I don't think he's ever actually read a book. But, it's interesting. Noel Castler, who worked with Trump on Apprentice, just to get your take, because, we've got Ukraine as a separate subject, but he said the appeasement and ass-kissing we've seen from world leaders toward Trump has not helped the global situation. History will not be kind to this moment. I get that they're mostly white men. It's kind of a club, but it's still gross and dangerous, and all of them should know better. And then he just updated. These leaders that danced around Trump's derangement and deformity should watch this G7 presser with a clear-eyed sobriety and be honest with themselves about what a dangerous place the world is in with Trump leading the USA. I mean, I keep saying I'm not a doctor. You are. He is clearly unwell in so many different ways. I don't know if you watched any of this.
I did.
G7?
I saw clips.
Yeah.
I saw clips, and look, he is an incompetent, dangerously pathologic man, and I don't know what I would do if I was one of those other G7 leaders, but I think they tread very, very carefully around him.
Yeah.
Because the problem with Trump is he could always get worse.
Yeah.
He could always make more trouble. He could always make the NATO alliance collapse even further.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they have these meetings without him where they're saying, how the hell are we going to handle him at this meeting?
Here's the good news, Doc, because as you know, Ukraine's winning. And
they're winning big time. Yes,
right,
they
and
are.
that was the thing that I think Macron and others, feel like they got Trump to agree with them again and you know why? It's because Trump is he's just such an idiot. Do you know what I mean? Like, he just sort of likes to pick winners or losers or whatever, and now he can see that Ukraine is winning. And someone was making the analogy that Trump and Putin are two war criminals that picked a fight with a much weaker country and lost. So now Putin's a loser,
The loserness applies to Iran, the Middle East in general, and of course Ukraine. And this is what we're stuck with. And by the way, I just want to differentiate something, because Ukraine is definitely winning on the battlefield, and they're penetrating deep into Russia for all kinds of attacks on infrastructure. But where they're not winning is that Russia continues to attack civilian targets. These are the daily war crimes, attacking schools, apartment buildings, health clinics, and so on. And for that, Ukraine needs the anti-missile defense systems that the United States must supply, and they're not. And that, I think, is the reason that the rest of the G7 is treading carefully with Trump. We need those weapons in Ukraine.
I mean, it did occur to me, when I was reading about this, Doc, that, the good guys are winning finally in Ukraine. And I thought, boy, the bad guys are losing. Trump, Netanyahu, Putin. Unfortunately, that means the U.S. loses, too. Israel loses. The people of the United States don't equal Donald Trump. The people of Israel don't equal Netanyahu. We just have the misfortune of having these people in charge.
We're taking the hit, though.
Yeah.
We're taking the hit.
Yeah.
And, what they say is that the first time Trump won in 16 was okay. It was, shouldn't have done it. The second time that he won, when we knew who he was, we knew as Americans, we can't get off that easily. The citizens did elect him. And now we're paying a price for that. But, I don't know that we can excuse ourselves anymore for his behaviors.
I saved this post for you. Someone said, honestly surprised that Trump and RFK haven't tried to sell the reflecting pool algae water as a home remedy for measles yet. Algae. You posted a bunch about Bobby Kennedy, but it's just one of many just atrocities of this administration. You said RFK Jr. overrides the CDC. Why is he still in office? A woman exposed to hantavirus on a cruise ship has been held in federal quarantine in Nebraska for weeks, even after the CDC's own medical experts recommended she be allowed to return home to Florida to finish her monitoring period there. You said it's only the latest example of Kennedy's dangerous and bizarre incompetence. He has no business running American public health. He's actively undermined vaccine policy, gutted CDC staffing, now overrides his own agency's scientific judgment without explanation or justification. I mean, we keep saying this reflecting pond is a perfect, more recent example of them just rejecting science.
Let me just emphasize this point, Stephanie. So you have a bunch of the world's leading experts on quarantine and infectious disease said this woman who's been in quarantine, she's from Florida, in Nebraska, it's safe for her to go back to Florida. That's barely, that disease is not transmissible from person to person.
Yeah.
And Bobby Kennedy Jr., this quasi-doctor quack, says, oh no, I don't believe the scientists. I don't believe the experts. I'm going to override their decision. What the hell is that? It is so mind-boggling to people who are actually public health experts. But there it is. I conclude that piece that I wrote by saying that, maybe at some point Trump himself will have had enough of Bobby Kennedy Jr.
Bad PR. That's all he cares about. He's loyal to no one. That's what you said.
Yeah.
You said at some point even Trump will have had enough. The American people surely have. I mean. Yeah. Yeah. He's already thrown J.D. Vance under the bus for this disastrous Iran deal. Right?
That's where J.D. Vance actually belongs under the bus.
Yeah.
So, he does. Good for Trump.
Yeah. Exactly. By the way, as your T-shirt said, Nebraska, it's not for everybody.
That's true.
So let this poor woman go home.
I did see the hantavirus quarantine hospital when I was in Omaha, though.
Oh.
We drove right past, and I'm like, that's
fantastic.
that. Yeah.
And by the way, Chris, that's the most sophisticated infectious disease quarantine and Rare Disease Treatment Center in America.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a place.
Yeah, it's on a huge medical
big deal.
campus.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Medicine, we still have it marginally. Okay. Love you, Dr. Doom. See you next week.
Sexy Liberal. This year, one show only in Southern California.
Hollywood, the city of magic.
Saturday, October 24th in L.A. One night, one chance. Let's get it right. The Sexy Liberal Show returns to the Savant Theater. One night only, October 24th. Starring Stephanie Miller.
Give it up for yourselves, LA Sexy Liberals. God bless you.
John Fugelsang.
Cable news, it should be called the stuff they air between Viagra and Cialis ads.
Comedy duo Frangela.
You're the kind of good white folks who adopt black babies. Yes. And not because they're cheaper.
And outrageous Hal Sparks.
Believe me, I have a lot of liberal friends who love this country enough to vote almost every other election. And
Special VIP meet and grope tickets for palling around with the stars after the show at the Saban in Beverly Hills.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Only one Sexy Liberal show in 2026. Saturday, October 24th at the Saban Theater in Beverly Hills. Tickets on sale now at sexyliberal.com.